Welcome to Built on Faith Homestead, or Leaving Egypt, depending on which video platform you like to watch your content on. My name is Justin. I live with my wife, Melissa, and we have 3 children. We live in a little bitty tiny house that you can kind of halfway see over my shoulder. And we just do the best we can to serve the Lord, to live a self-sustainable life, to raise our children, to love God with all of their heart. And we got a lot of work to do in both of those areas. There's no doubt about that. We have a lot of improving that we need to do. But it doesn't mean that we just quit because we fail. It means that we try to learn from our mistakes and do better the next time. That being said, that's kind of what today's video is going to somewhat be about. Today we're going to talk about an article that I come across from Harvard Public Health that says somewhere around 678,000 Americans die each and every year because of highly processed food.
Was blind, but now I see.
All right, so let me show you this article real quick, and I will copy a link to it down below in the description box. Here's the article that I will link down below. According to this article, it says that processed foods are making us sick, and it's time for the FDA and USDA to step in. According to this, once again, 678,000 Americans die a year because of chronic food illness. So according to this article, somewhere around 678,000 people die every year in America from highly processed foods because they're killing us with our food supply. If you will further read the article, they attribute those deaths, in obesity and diabetes and heart failure and all that. They attribute all that back to highly processed food. And you can make an argument to say, you know what, those things would be there, at least some of them, to some way, in shape or form, to some capacity, without the highly processed foods. And I wouldn't debate you, because the truth of the matter is, yeah, it probably would be. However, we know that highly processed foods are contributing to that, and we understand that. We know that. This article goes on to say this about the FDA director. According to this article, the commissioner of the FDA and the secretary of the USDA should implement some new strategies, is what they suggest here in this article. And they said that through appropriate regulation and enforcement, they must provide food companies with legal incentives to design food that promote health and well-being. And these incentives ought to be equal to those the marketplace provides for taste, cost, and convenience. As you can see, they're saying, listen, FDA, you need to do something about this, because it's not just viruses and bacteria that's killing people. It's the chemicals in the food and the way we're processing the food that's also killing people. And we need to make sure that we are addressing this. Now, if you'll remember, I did a video not too long ago how the FDA wants to join the misinformation army and try to censor the information you can find online. That way, no misinformation gets out. Know your role, FDA. Do your job. Stay in your lane. Work on the food and drugs. Figure out whether or not stuff's good or bad for you. Give you the old football coach thing, right? They'd be like, now, son, just do your job. If you'll do your job and the other person will do their job, then you won't have to do their job. If everybody does their job and just takes care of what they're supposed to take care of, everything will be fine, right? FDA, do your job. Please. You're killing everybody. Food's terrible for us, and we know it. So, here's the deal. I'm not bashing anybody over the head. Not trying to at all. But we know, like, the food's bad. I don't think anybody's eating a frozen pizza and like, this is the nutrition apex that I can possibly consume. This is the best thing ever. Nobody's doing that, right? You're eating that frozen pizza because it's convenient, it's fast, it's probably cheap. You can throw it in the oven, and if you really want to make yourself feel better about it, you can make a side salad. And he's like, man, you know what you're talking about. Yeah, because we do it. We've done it. And chances are we'll probably do it again one of these days. But nobody's eating it going, this is the apex of nutrition for me, right? Nobody's going through a fast food joint and getting their greasy cheesy and being like, this is the nutritional apex today that I could possibly consume, or this month, or man, this is going to fuel me. It's going to be so good. No. You're getting it because it tastes good on your taste buds, and it's quick, fast, and easy. Yeah, I love it. I love it when you go to Sonic, right? Especially because you got to roll your window down. Yeah, well, not anymore. They got drive-thrus, but they also have still the little car hop things, right? You pull up there, you push the button, they ask you what you want, and windows down, and you can hear people all up and down the line, especially in the summertime, right? And you'll always have somebody next to you, right? It's like, go ahead and give me the double cheeseburger, extra large cheesy tater tots, mozzarella sticks, jalapeno poppers, 2 corn dogs, 3 french fries, 2 onion rings, and a Diet Coke, please. And it's like, maybe you could have went with the real Coke at this point. I'm not sure the Diet Coke's helping you a whole lot. But anyhow, None of us go to them places thinking we're getting the apex of nutrition, right? We go to those places because it's quick, fast, easy, probably tastes good, at least to us in the moment. But then you feel terrible afterwards, and you know it, right? Man, I don't feel good at all afterwards. So I actually think the consumption of these highly processed food has way more to do, or as much to do, with economical issues as it does laziness, right? And this is what I mean by this, right? Let's say you're like, you know what, this week we're going to make our own homemade pizza. We're going to use all the most wholesome ingredients we can possibly afford, and we're not going to buy the frozen pizza junk because I know it's bad for me. So you go to the grocery store and you start buying all the stuff, right? You buy the flour, you buy the sauce, and you of course, you're trying to step your game up, so you're getting all natural stuff, non-GMO, everything, and it's costing you an arm and a leg. And then you walk by the frozen pizzas and they're like $5, and you've got $40 worth of homemade good for me pizza stuff, right? And you're like, I'm spending the $5, forget it, put all this stuff back. Because you also got the guy, you also got the electric company calling you saying they're going to shut your electric off, and you got a car payment to make, and a house payment to make, and an insurance payment to make, and somebody needs new shoes, and that's going to be another $100 at least, and you know, all this stuff, and you're just like, oh my goodness gracious. So you know what? Let's spend $5 and just get the frozen pizza. Or maybe even worse yet, you're standing there looking at the ramen noodles. Like, I know that's not even real food. I know that. I don't know what it is. It can't possibly be real food. I know that it's not. But it's you know, $5, and I can buy like 24 of them or whatever crazy it is, right? Like, though, you're not making those decisions because you're lazy. You're making them because it's like, man, financially it's just so much cheaper, right? But I do think there's some things we can do. We can begin, I think, to learn about like wild edibles, right? That's a free way. And if you live in a place where you can go look for wild edibles, or at least it's a close driving distance or whatever, then you can add that to sides of your meals. It'll at least help, right? And then also making sacrifices. Everything takes sacrifice. Everything takes effort. When we fed and watered the animals today, it was raining and nasty, and I love taking care of the animals, but it wasn't fun today. And I walked in and told my wife, like, man, I love taking care of the animals, and she was laughing, and I was like, not today. It was not fun. Because it's nasty out, but everything takes sacrifice. This is a idea that we're trying to implement into our children, right? Maybe you need to get rid of your Netflix. Maybe you need to do whatever to try to maybe grow a garden, right? Sacrifice your time that you're spending watching TV to work in the garden of an evening instead of watching your favorite TV show and consuming the frozen pizza. Just doing whatever you can, right? Now, here's what I'm going to say. Most all of us watching this, at least at some point in time, is going to continue to consume highly processed food. But this is how I look at it. If we can lessen the poison we are taking, if we, like the option is you're going to take poison, right? But if we can make that less instead of more, I think it's better for us, right? And so I'm not saying don't ever eat this stuff ever again. That's probably not realistic for most of us, right? However, if we just try to do what we can to limit it as much as possible, to try to grow as much wholesome, good force food as we possibly can, I think we'd be a lot better off, right? I would tell you from my own experience, from me and my wife, eating highly processed foods and then not eating highly processed foods and then kind of going back at eating highly processed foods more often and then going back to not eating them more often, I feel a lot better whenever we are eating as much of our own homegrown food and vegetables, or meat and vegetables, as much as possible, own processed stuff. I feel a whole lot better than whenever I am eating the highly processed stuff. I don't hurt near as bad. You have more energy. You feel better. You feel like you can do more. It just makes you feel a lot better. Then when you slip back and you start eating highly processed food, you're like, why do I have no energy? Brain fog is terrible. I hurt. This is not fun, right? And sometimes you might struggle figuring it out. And then you're like, oh, it's because I'm eating junk food again, and now I feel terrible. So I'm going to go back to trying to eat the good, wholesome food as much as possible. And like I said, I'm not trying to fool anybody. Like, I get it, right? It's easy. It's convenient. We all do it. I'm obviously, right, quite a bit overweight. It is a process, something we're working on, but still, understanding that, like I said, if we can lessen this stuff a little bit here, a little bit there, learn a little bit more here, learn a little bit more there, piece by piece and bit by bit, we can start to get away from this stuff. Because as this article expresses, the highly processed food is killing us. There's no doubt about that. All that set aside for just a minute. If you don't know the Lord, it don't matter how much good, healthy food you eat. It don't matter how long that you live. You're still going to die. And you're still going to face Christ one of these days. You're still going to stand before God. And he's either going to say, enter in, thy good and faithful servant. Or he's going to say, depart from me, for I never knew you. Jesus, at one point, he said, you call me Lord, but you don't do what I say. The Lord has commanded that we would be saved and born again, that we would trust and put our faith in him and do the very best we can to serve him to the best of our ability. He knows our heart. He knows whether or not we love him and want to serve him or whether or not we are just pretending. So I would plead and I would beg with you to truly, truly, truly place your faith in Christ. You don't have to quit everything that you like doing and all that kind of stuff. Put your faith in Christ. He'll work all that out between you and him before it's too late, because we're all going to die. I don't care how healthy you eat. We appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you next time.